Does your furry friend take over your bed every night? It's time to reclaim your space while giving them the comfort they deserve with the coldest, cozy dog bed. Don't wait. Check out the link in the video description to buy now on Amazon.
Sipping a glass of chilled Pol Roger at the Spectator magazine's annual summer party, the former conservative minister was in a surprisingly cheerful mood. "There's too much doom and gloom about," he told me. "Starmer's majority is shallow. He's got a very tricky in-tray. In a few months, the problems will be piling up. The shine's going to come off. We'll be back in the game more quickly than people think." It's not an isolated view. In the wake of their cataclysmic election defeat, a significant number of Tory MPs have become inflicted by what can best be described as George III syndrome. Or, for the more musically inclined, Hamilton syndrome. In the hit Broadway show of the American Revolution, the recently deposed, and delusional, British monarch performs a comic turn. "You'll be back," he croons to his ungrateful former subjects. "Soon, you'll see. You'll remember you belong to me." 250 years later, the citizens of the U.S. have yet to demonstrate any such buyer's remorse. And unless the conservatives quickly come to appreciate the depth of the hole they're interred in, they could be facing a similar period of exile. Such introspection should begin with an acceptance they have underestimated Sir Keir Starmer and his party. During the election campaign, Labour's strategy of minimizing its political exposure saw Tory ministers and advisers starting to believe their own negative publicity. "Labour's got no plan," one told me. "They aren't ready for power." They were. Starmer and his team haven't so much hit the ground running, as opted to stride into government with a slow but steady purpose. As his exhausted aides dozed on the overnight flight to Washington's NATO summit, the man the Tory attack ads claimed would be a part-time PM worked diligently through a mountain of briefing papers. "He stepped off the plane straight into 10 separate meetings with our most senior global allies," one advisor revealed. "He didn't want to waste a second. To be honest, we're all shattered from the campaign. But he's been on it since the moment he walked through the door of number 10. As a result, Starmer has already cleared the first hurdle. He looks the part." At his first diplomatic gathering, one that didn't involve the usual ceremonial glad-handing, but the development of a serious strategy to prosecute the war in Ukraine, the Prime Minister appeared confident and statesmanlike. Though given the obvious infirmity of Joe Biden, that wasn't necessarily hard. But this sure-footedness has been matched across government. Rachel Reeves's appointment as Chancellor was greeted by stability in the stock market, and a strengthening of the pound. A testament to the work she and her team did reaching out to and reassuring business leaders in the months preceding Labour's victory. New Defense Secretary John Healey won immediate praise from Ukrainian officials after he braved a Russian missile attack to sign off a new military aid package. So while difficult days lie ahead, the idea the Starmer administration would rapidly collapse under the weight of expectation and events is set to prove wide of the mark. The second thing the Tories must recognize is that when things do start to go wrong for the government, they will not be in any position to exploit them. There is a skill to being an effective opposition, and it is already evident it will take the Conservative Party a long time to relearn it. Look no further than their preposterous response to the unfolding prison crisis, and Labour's decision to reduce the proportion of custodial sentences served from 50% to 40%. "In what world is releasing 20,000 prisoners onto our streets a good idea?" raged former Security Minister, and leading Tory leadership contender, Tom Tugendhat. The answer is the world the Labour Party inherited from Tugendhat and his colleagues just over a week ago. Every single man, woman and lag in the country knows the collapse of our penal system occurred on the last government's watch. In November, Lord Justice Adis, the senior presiding judge for England, ordered sex offenders and burglars be spared jail because the scale of prison overcrowding had become unsustainable. So former Tory ministers complaining about early release is like Dr. Crippen complaining about poor food hygiene. Yet there's something even more important that vanquished Tory MPs need to grasp. WH.